For $3,000 and only 2 weeks of prep, spent 3 weeks going all around Japan. This is his second 7-month tour through Asia. Kind of insensitive, Anthony. There's no time to prepare. For 15 bucks for the night, I'm not gonna say no for those amenities. Let's do it. Getting up in the morning to draw my curtain back to a half-packed Sebastian already is motivating me to fly out of bed because we got to get down to the bakery. And we can sit down with a background view of Mount Mason across the bay, and now I get to know more about the guy I'm going to spend my day with. Sebastian's only got one more day in Japan, today, and he's interested in spending it with me, which is pretty wild because this is the end of a 7-month trip through Asia. But get this is his second 7-month tour through Asia. This guy's experience dwarfs mine to a degree that I can hardly comprehend. So I'm gonna tag along. Whatever he's got in mind, he definitely knows his stuff. Time to grab that local train to downtown Hiroshima, and there's no time to prepare because as soon as we step off of this train, that's the A-bomb dome, right there across the street. It's time to engage with the history of the city of Hiroshima. And as we work our way through more of this park, there's this gathering of people, a ton of people. I haven't seen this many people yet. And I realize it's a ton of children's school classes, and we're talking like elementary school, around this one memorial. And I realize this is the Children's Peace Memorial. And we've stumbled across a day of remembrance and celebration. Celebration's a weird word here, I know it sounds like, but the way all of this is presented from the Japanese perspective is being happy for the day that we have now, which really was about overcoming such a dark moment in history, which we're going to contend with here in a few minutes because the A-bomb Museum is just down the way. As we're moving from the Children's Peace Memorial on down the park with the A-bomb Museum slowly getting closer to us, it's impossible to not become acutely aware in that moment. I am 6'2". I am clearly American, and I am in the middle of a bunch of people who are not. There's nowhere for me to slink back and deal with my thoughts, to really process this. There is only facing this museum. The impact of this incident is on full display. Everything was affected by the bomb. A children's tricycle, medical vials fused together and their contents lost, and a diorama that truly shows the entire valley area affected by this bomb. There is nowhere to turn where you don't see the reality, but at the same time, you also can read and know that Japan faced this and presents it to the world now as not a cautionary tale of this grand decision that had these impacts that rippled through generations. No, it was more speaking to it as a moment in time that shouldn't be forgotten because it only happened once. Hiroshima really is an ideal city to put on full display that when you travel, you're interacting with that place in the present for sure, but there's so much history that has come before you. And when I was walking toward the museum, I was starting to be concerned. I could feel my footsteps almost becoming heavier as it dawned on me. I was clearly the American. My day pack had a military-esque design to it. Kind of insensitive, Anthony. Way to go. And that's all that went through my head. As I moved into the museum and saw all these student groups around me, all I could think was, one of these kids is gonna turn and look up at me and go, that's what the villain looks like. But that was a heavy moment that I didn't really know how to process until I realized nobody was looking at me. And I engaged with history as it was. I learned that Japan really does approach this situation as, hey, this is horrible, and only 2 bombs have ever been dropped in all of history, and they were on us by you, Mr. Tall Dude. You can't deny that. That's a fact. However, we as a country also were in the middle of a war and attacked you. We recognize that fact as well. but they aren't mutually exclusive from the belief that this shouldn't happen again. That was the takeaway from the museum. Look at what happened. Let's not do that again. And I got caught up and was, quite frankly, a bit of a selfish guilt trip. And that took away a little bit until I snapped back to reality and realized, engage with things as they are, not as I think they're going to be. You don't want to pre-color what you're about to see. It takes away from the truth. After we get out of the museum, our idea bank is kind of empty, so we pulled up Google Maps and saw what's within reach for us to walk to, and there's a whole imperial palace. We might have gone off course just a little bit, but we made it there, and it's a full-on moat, a bonsai tree exhibit, a bunch of dudes with really expensive cameras taking pictures of stuff, which we're not equipped for, but man, they got a great photo. And at the far end of these ruins is one castle left standing. As we get up the many steps just to get to the castle, I'm faced with reality again that I shouldn't go up. My knee will be in too much pain from this. And Sebastian obliges me. He's like, don't worry about it, man. I've traveled plenty to know you don't push your body. Let's go find some food. And so we about face, leave the ruins, and wander through the city a bit more, but time is limited. He needs to catch a flight to Korea, I need to catch a train to Sasebo, and as we say our goodbyes, he really impresses one thing upon me. Go to Nepal. It's really cheap, and you'll love every moment of it because it's easier than you think it'll be. I said, Nepal's easy? He said, yeah, so is the rest of Asia. Let's talk about it in the future. And we're still friends to this day. Back on my own again, I'm reminded that I didn't plan anything, so I should probably figure out an Airbnb for the night. And I've got about a 4-hour train ride to get there, so let's start looking. There are no auto confirms available. I can't find any hotels within my price range, but there's this person, and they have snakes and rock band. All right, for 15 bucks for the night, I'm not gonna say no for those amenities. Let's do it. Arriving in Sasebo, I'm getting picked up by a man in a tux, in a black car. I didn't even use Uber for this. My host grabs me, we head back to their place, and his friends are there, because it turns out they're going clubbing tonight, which is cool, because now I have a bit of a captive audience. I've seen some anime figures on his shelves, and I'm a bit of a collector myself. So I get to show off some of those things, my cosplays. He shows me some stuff he's got in his room. But again, they gotta get to the club, which means I'm not the main attraction tonight. So, says, we'll be back around noon tomorrow, which is a few hours after I plan to be gone. No worries, he says. Just don't lock the door on your way out. Which, as an American, feels incredibly courageous. But hey, whatever, fine by me. So, I mill about, get the bed ready, and I get a message from my host again, said, oh yeah, I drew you a bath so you could take care of your knee. Which is perfect because I still have that beer waiting, so I hope this bath is special. And it is. Some of the bathtubs, in fact, all the ones I've run into so far in Japan, are cube-like. So I'm 6'2", which means the way I fit in there is a bit like this. And my shoulders get under there, and that's about it. So if you lean back a little bit with a beer in your hand, you're having a good time. When you travel solo, it doesn't have to be solitary. I really had that opportunity by choosing to go to a hostel. And for being my first one ever, boy, was this, I couldn't have written and requested such a great experience. And even though I showed up after they closed the night before and missed all of that chatter, I got up and left early before everybody else had. Got home after everybody was already drunk. And still, I ran into Sebastian. By dumb luck, we just happened to be two people that said, I don't need the party atmosphere downstairs. I don't need like a high linen hotel experience. And we both left ourselves open to the emergent experience of meeting somebody else on the road. Sebastian's experience really produced a perspective for me that I felt I could do something brave and a lot of traveling, And then I immediately felt a little smaller, a little more cloistered. Could I really do that? Of course you can, Anthony. It's only $20 a day for everything in Nepal. You should absolutely go to Nepal. And when you go to Mongolia, all you gotta do is buy a van with a bunch of people and drive across the country. He says so casually. What in the world? So far, not planning is serving me very well. A great day in Hiroshima with Sebastian, got to see the museum, and still managed to get an Airbnb at the last minute. So that's great, but I've got, in the next couple days, the one place that I knew I needed to make happen, the set that's gonna make this whole trip unique. Frankly, I'm really proud of myself for making this happen. So of course, I'm super excited to tell you, which is making it hard to argue with the editor right now, who is clearly trying to get me to not tell you. But I'm gonna tell you, tomorrow, I'm going to Ikitsuki Island.